Alrighty, cyber traders, welcome on back. Here to close things out for the week this Friday afternoon, September 4th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. A lot of talking today, way more than I expected to do, I'll tell you. Great to see everybody, though. Andrea, who just picked up a lot of money just before I thought it was on that LMPX, right? Want to jump to that just in a moment. Great to see all of us, though. Michael, Mark, Kathleen, Leda, David, William. You guys all came in too fast. Great to see everybody, though. Loud and clear, unanimous. And welcome on back for anybody tuning in on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. Actually, just YouTube today, actually. A little issue on Facebook Live right now. So let's hop into it. We ended up seeing the market slightly recover, keyword slightly overnight. We ended up seeing them like freaking crash as soon as the market opened up, right? So, sans a small little bounce here, just nonstop drop. Dow ended up dropping, from net range just about 900 points, right? See the stock go from 28.6 or 28.5 or so all the way down to, 27.6. All the way down towards. So huge drop, and typically around 10:30 you would expect reversal time. We ended up seeing a delayed bounce. We ended up seeing right around like 11:30, 11:45, higher lows built on the Dow Industrial. We ended up seeing a bunch of stocks move back up with the market. The KCAC is on the board, though. To begin, I wanted to jump to this because one of our students had called out just before. It ended up making a bit of a pop. Stock from yesterday, we ended up seeing make a huge move. Fairly new IPO coming off the news. What was it? Quantumware is being merged. A smaller company, Quantumware, being merged with KCAC in order to be listed across the New York Stock Exchange. Company owned by Bill Gates, not Bill Clinton, Bill Gates and Volkswagen. We said that yesterday. So, stock from yesterday ended up breaking higher into the close. With that, you would figure it would move up higher, especially with the stock breaking all-time highs. So this stock ended up making a tremendous run-up going into the market open, but with as much as it ran, ended up seeing that final pop, the pullback, the squeeze up once again, the huge drop off from there. And for what it's worth right now, I know one of our students had called it out just before. I think it was Donnie going into this meeting, Donnie A. Ended up seeing this squeeze up nicely from 21. Nice catch, nice call, but volume dying off right now. So that doesn't surprise me. I'll put this on our list for now. Because if we have a better, list going into this afternoon, I'm just not as confident that this will make a final, push cleanly higher. It's level 5 stock, like Fausto brought up earlier this morning. So, leading into this afternoon, you're still seeing an open spread or an open order book, a fluctuating spread, tiny orders on the bid and the ask. One of our students inside the trading room just saying no screen sharing. So really quick, let me actually just take care of that. There might be a small little glitch for our student here. Just bear with me one moment, folks, just on the live stream. I'm just going to do a quick reset for all of us inside the trading room. Just went white, so just give me a quick sec. It'll load up once again in a moment. Great to see one of our attendees on YouTube here, NL, joining us live. Great to see you. All right, so it should be good, Deborah, and for all of us here live inside the trading room, right? We good? Perfect. All right, cool. So, yeah, KCAC, we'll put on our list for right now. A little reluctant to do so, but hey, if we have a pretty small list, I guess we'll keep this in mind. I want to jump right to the gainers and losers list, guys. We had a pretty interesting day, as we had said, with the market dropping off. A lot of stocks dropped off with it. Actually, I'll tell you, before we jump to the gainers and losers list, we'll jump right to NEO first. NEO is down just about 5.5%. It take a little while to jump to it here. So I wanted to start off with NEO, then we'll jump from top to bottom. But NEO, you could see obviously with the market dropping off today, it was a huge short. So, after the open, much like the Dow did, ended up squeezing up a little bit, made a false break over 19. And from there, the wheels fell off. So it ended up breaking down beautifully down towards, obviously low of the day. You could see 1561. Myself and one of our students, Jeff, oh my goodness. We, as much money as we left on the table, we ended up killing it on this trade. So I want to jump to it pretty fast, at least the short on the way down this morning. So NEO here, especially after it rebroke support off of the 1750. Well, after it rebroke 19 here, dropped off. After it broke down below support at 1750. all the way down, ended up dropping here to this line. I'll explain this in a moment. Crashed below it pretty quickly. I was looking for a bounce here at the time. Markets were starting to kind of squeeze up a bit, but obviously at that point, no real buying opportunity from this price, 1728. I mean, just held underneath it, flew all the way down. So, we shorted this all the way down to just about 1590, myself and Jeff. The only regret I had on this trade was I knew this would make a bounce. I mean, you see the market's beginning to slow down, and I figured as much as NEO dropped today, and even from the last few days prior, you got to ask yourself, when's it going to bounce? When's it going to squeeze back up? For as sharp of a drop as we had here, my only regret is not reversing my position. I got out, and at the time, it dropped all the way down to 1561. So I said to myself then, well, thank God I didn't reverse. But obviously, it squeezed back up very sharply. I did not get back in on the long side. So, just as opportunistic as it was a short, ended up squeezing back up beautifully from around that $16, whole number price. And then there, you could see the 1728. So I've been calling out this price all morning, all day, at least, from upon it becoming a relevant price to watch. This was actually the opening print back from Monday's trading. I don't know if it's going to reflect on the daily chart here. Yeah, it says 1719. A little fluctuation there. The opening print back from the 31st this Monday was actually 1728. Pretty interesting that right around that price, if not exactly, that became resistance. From there, once it rebroke above that 1728, well, look at where it is now. Ended up squeezing up to just about 18, pulled back, held support beautifully from around that price. And going into this afternoon, it's a proponent of the market running back up. So, you know what? Hey, I don't mind putting NEO on our list, much like KCAC for right now. I want to see if there are stocks that are kind of making sharper moves up even than this. But yeah, for the meantime, NEO just remains a very tradable stock, shortable, at least for those on TradeStation. And with that, we'll just keep it on our list for right now. All right. All right, Leda says here in the chat board, I wanted to go right to the gainers list from this point, but Leda is telling me to go to WKHS over 19. So another EV stock, another stock that we're familiar with, a stock that we also just called out before this meeting started. So I guess the gainers list can wait, especially with WKHS making that exact sharper run that I was hoping for. So great call from Leda. Yeah, needless to be said, WKHS is going to lead our list here at this point. All right. So slight little water break there, folks. Like I said, a lot of talking today. With that, let's go from top to bottom. PLM, pump and dump I saw it to begin. Yeah, it was dumping back down going into this meeting. And I guess for what it's worth, a small little bounce and squeeze back up. We said it actually yesterday about this SHLO stock, which we would have jumped to on this gainers list at some point. And look at where it is right now. We were saying yesterday during this exact meeting for a stock like SHLO, that moved up once already, even a second time here, with it already pulling back. I didn't really expect it to make a second big or third big move up into the afternoon. At the time that we saw this during the meeting, or after the meeting rather, it was popping up at the time, fell all the way back down going into the rest of the day. So, that kind of brings me to PLM here at the top because, it ended up popping at the open, ended up making a second little move up going into the afternoon. Look at where it is right now, dumping back down. So, wouldn't surprise me if this completely dumps off going into the close. Oh, man, VVPR. This stock's been cruising across the whole week, even from the end of last week going into right now. I mean, nonstop up on the daily charts. So you got to figure the same thing. At what point does this stock really begin to drop off and pull back and everything else in between? So I don't mind, go into the 5-minute chart here to kind of show even back from what is this? Back from the 31st, back from Monday, dropped all the way down. So for as much as this ran up, it dropped. It ran right back up going into the afternoon, and ended up making these pops here and there. Never really ended up like reversing and pulling all the way back down to break a lower low. That's the notable part here. So for as much as this stock moved up today, well, it's pulled back quite a bit. Ended up topping off right underneath hole number 15. So, unless if you could short this stock, I wouldn't be as likely to put this on our list at this point. If we start to see this build support, maybe around 315, 330, I'll give it a second look. It wouldn't shock me though that if this doesn't make that type of move going into the close today, which I wouldn't expect it to anyway, it wouldn't surprise me if this ends up gapping down by Tuesday morning. All right. Oh, and by the way, guys, I know that we are global. We're on YouTube right now. So I say Tuesday. Remember, guys, Labor Day is Monday for all of us here inside the States. We're going to be celebrating Labor Day. So the markets here are going to be closed. So we'll be meeting up back on Tuesday. FFG looks like a buyout. I'm not even going to check. It's not worth it. LMPX. All right. So we are going to get to the I don't know what just happened there. All right. Back to LMPX. There we go. LMPX here. That was weird. Ended up seeing the squeeze up earlier today. Andrea killed it on this trade. I want to jump to his post. He said he picked up $1.23 per share. He was in the LMPX from 1723. He was out at 1846 when she broke the bottom trend line that he had up. So I think what Andrea is referring to here, and Andrea, thank you so much for your post, because it's not all just about showing off and the profits and so forth. It's about why we got in, why we got out. So I believe this is what Andrea is referring to here. This pretty trend line here ended up popping, ended up pushing up to 19, and ended up pulling back. Andrea got out at 1848, so maybe even a tighter trend line than what I have. But ultimately, once it broke, ended up snapping lower, dropping down to 17 here. Going into the afternoon, I mean, it's an afternoon run. I don't mind putting this on our list for right now. So hopefully it ends up making a third or second big move up into this close. Still holding pretty strong. Much like the KCAC, though, this is a level 5 stock. So I wanted to mention that. I mean, look at the spread here. NCM, tongue twister there. NCMI. What is this? National Cinemedia. Interesting. I don't know what the news is. Don't have class here this afternoon, so I don't mind checking and taking the time here on this one. So let's see. What we got here on Benzinga Pro. Was it NCMI? Barrington Research upgrades to outperform, announces a $5.50 price target. That's the only news I got on this stock. Looks pretty interesting. Looks pretty tight near the highs going into the close. And for me, obviously, you guys know this if you've been watching this meeting, it's shortable. So if it ends up crapping out the other way, then at least we'll be able to ride it on the way down. So I saw it called out earlier inside our trading room. I didn't really look at it much. I was in a few coaching calls myself today, so I didn't have the chance to. But right now, looks pretty cool. Looks pretty interesting. DPW on the morning watch list. I mean, listen, Fausto is very, so to say, pessimistic about how this day would be. We had a great day as far as day trading goes, right? We had a great day if you were able to short. Obviously, not a great day market-wise with the big drop-off. Thankfully, we're squeezing back up right now. But DPW is one of the stocks that we put on the morning watch list. But this one even itself ended up dumping off. Wasn't really a short opportunity. So ended up kind of pulling back down to 2. I ended up taking a 2-cent loss on this trade. I was in from 202. I got out at 2 and ended up dropping all the way down to 175. So wouldn't shock me if this is on our list come next week. For this afternoon right now, not really as likely to put this on. There's our friend KCAC, or at least the warrants. We're going to skip over that one. All right, let's kind of just cruise down this gainer side here, folks. I mean, again, we're kind of pre-Labor Day weekend. We're not expecting a whole lot. We had a pretty good day market-wise as far as day trading goes. Again, if you're able to short, it would have been a great day to follow the market on the way down. And obviously right now, the squeeze up, hopefully there's a few stocks you can catch on the way up. There's our WKHS. This thing's been pushing up beautifully. Holy smokes. This thing's been screaming on the way up. Looking at this stock, I know that we already put this on our list. It wouldn't shock me if right around 2015, 2018, you end up seeing big resistance from big opening, closing bell prints from the last few days. I'll be more specific about that just once I have the chance to after this meeting for all of us inside the trading room. All right, Michael's MIK. Let's see what we have here. Trade station's a little slow. Full recovery from yesterday's dump and pump, I guess we'll call it otherwise. Ended up dumping all the way off down to 850 and under, pumped back up towards just about 10, and obviously now making a move back up towards the highs. So with all of that said, it is pretty interesting. Maybe I'll come back to this at the very end. I wouldn't be shocked if I just tag this on at the end of the list, but I want to see if there's anything better. CLSK, familiar name. Want to jump to this one at least here. Clean Spark, I think it's called. Kind of similar move, right? Near the highs right now, I can see just from the matrix, ended up dumping and then pumping. And that was more so today than yesterday, but dropped off today, squeezed all the way back up. I don't know if news came out on this stock to see this run all the way from 820 to 939 high. But yeah, for right now, CLSK I find to be a little bit more interesting. We're familiar with this stock at least. So yeah, we'll put this one on. All right, let's see. Anything on the gainer side here, folks? We're at 7.4%. So, if there's anything else that looks great that's up that I missed, that I overlooked, or anything that's popping as I go through the losers list, just let me know. There's our old friend C-Test here. Going to skip over it to begin. Here's a familiar name, Seal. What happened here? Vapo, VAPO, dropping off, kind of shaky around 25, near the lows. I like that, but again, pre-Labor Day weekend. Don't need to force any stock on this list. I want to make sure it's as, good looking as possible. Spreads are tight, steady trend, a lot of volume being traded on it. Checking on NVAX, pretty expensive stock, but it took a beating the last couple of days with the market dropping off. Obviously, right now, beginning to squeeze up. Hey, if you tend to follow the more expensive stocks, put this on your list. Seems pretty volatile. Seems, still pretty active. Again, pre-Labor Day weekend. That's going to be my theme going forward for the rest of this meeting. Just pre-Labor Day weekend. That's it, guys. Don't force anything out there. DocuSign, I saw one of our students, Pat, do well in the short earlier on today. Obviously, same thing, pretty pricey. UVXY pulling back quite a bit, right? Dropping off. Wow, this thing's tanking. All right. Hey, we put it on the list yesterday. We put the VIX symbols on our list yesterday, just given the market dropping off and with them running up. Why not do the same going into the close, vice versa? Market's moving up, this dropping off, they're shortable. And then again, if the markets, change the course and run back down, then this you'll find support, move back up. So UVXY, VXX, SQQQ, I'm referring to all of those. So I'll just kind of put VIX entirely on our list. And I know, SQQ is that's not, VIX, it's QQQ, but it's just the inverse symbols. That's all. BE, Bloom Energy. We're familiar with the trade at least. Squeezing up a little bit. I mean, tradable. Seems like for right now, I'll pass. FLDM, for as much as this ran up over the last week and a half, or over the last month back in August, when would it pull back? Well, it ended up doing so. You could see near the end of the month, gapped up before it popped up, and then dumped all the way back down, gapped down much lower, and then from there, it's kind of just steadily dropped. So, you know what? I think it's about time to ask that question. When's it going to move back up? Dropped all the way down today to 550, squeezed back up, obviously now, but kind of like that Clean Spark stock and, the other one that we're going to look back at before we finish up, the FLDM, I don't mind just putting on our list here for right now. All right. Let's see, folks. If there's anything else that's looking good, just type it in the chat board here on YouTube, inside the trading room at least. Let me know. I got one or two for you. I said yesterday, and I always kind of slip up with this during the streams, but let's check in on the side list stocks. I got a ping from CCL breaking a new high of the day, going to 230. I mean, hey, the stock was looking great in pre-market. Fausto was, clamoring about the airlines and cruise lines. They're moving up nicely. Well, hey, I mean, they're not going to move up when the market's tanking. So, those were susceptible to big drops. Great shorts. But for right now, I mean, full recovery on the CCL, holding that 1850 resistance. Checking on my baby, my NCLH here. Trading a little bit slower, but making kind of the same move. Checking on the airlines, like American Airlines here. Obviously, similar. I like UAL a lot more. UAL, DAL. AAL trades a lot of volume, so that could be like a nice level 1 to 2 stock, but UAL is usually a sharper mover of the airlines, much like RCL is for the cruise lines, right? I mean, they're all kind of the same, right? So none of them like genuinely stand out to me, at least. But hey, if you do well on one of those and you see the market make a steady trend, you hope to see one of those stocks move in a similar fashion. All right, got another ping on Benzinga, SPAC, SPAQ, EV stock. I called this out a couple of days ago. I think I put it on the afternoon list. Didn't really do as much, but right now this is moving up, breaking higher going into this afternoon. So it's only up 1.7%, but hey, looking pretty sharp. I like this stock. So maybe it's about time this thing makes the run that we were looking for earlier in the week. All right. Grant says here in the trading room, AMC, nice trend. I was going to say near the high of the day, but yeah, kind of near the high of the day. But yeah, steady trends. It's coming off earnings going into this week, I think, or not earnings. I'm sorry. Just the reports of them reopening up the theaters and so forth. We ended up seeing a big push up early in pre-market back on Wednesday, popped after the open, and then like died off, right? So, no good sideless stock. Pre-Labor Day weekend, right? So, it looks all right. For right now, we'll kind of keep it on the side. I'll tell you, folks, I think that just about does it. I don't have anything else on Benzinga. I got Michael here, last one here, saying DraftKings back over and under 37. So, yeah, I'll look at DraftKings. So that's another good side list stock. And coming off the news from this week with Michael Jordan, right? So I will say on this trade, oh, man, I was looking for the bounce on this trade. I never ended up getting in on it, but I was waiting for the pop, and it ultimately ended up squeezing off low of the day, 34.47. But for as much as this dropped after the open, I was saying, hey, 38, watch 38. That could be the support level. Blew right through it. No buying opportunity from there at all. Just dropped all the way down to 37. Same thing. Dropped all the way down to 36. Squeezed up nicely for what it's worth at that point, but continued down. So I like the stock a lot, Michael, or going forward, I will, at least from this past week. Definitely a stock like NEO, I would say, just, a volatile stock that we could look to follow long and short. It's moving a little bit tighter right now. That's my only gripe on it. I feel like NEO is kind of moving at the same rate, and NEO is just half the price, right? So, like, with that basic train of thought, I'm not as likely to put DraftKings on the main special list for today, but I'll tell you, going forward, I love it. I love DraftKings so long as it's shortable, so long as it ends up making nice up moves. Just based off the news, it'll be a great sideless stock, probably one of my top 2 or 3. All right, but you know what? Otherwise, I'll tell you, it's the last real day. I mean, I guess not officially, right? But last good day of summer, right? I mean, Labor Day weekend pretty much caps it off. So with that said, I like this list going into the close. And aside from that, if there's anything else that makes a big move, we'll look to call it out. I got my scanners up and loaded here, Benzinga Pro and everything else. So, I'll look to call anything else out, guys, much like you guys hopefully will. We'll look to work together as a team going into this Friday afternoon. For all of us here inside the trading room, I'll close this out with a little Jimmy Buffett, last time for the year, last time for the summer, so to say. And aside from that, for all of us here on YouTube, if you guys would like to learn more about Cyber Trading University, make sure that you guys like, subscribe, notify yourself right on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/cybertradingu. At least you'll know when we're going live, when we're not. And aside from that, if you'd like to learn more, aside from these little rinky-dinky meetings, feel more than free to join us here inside our trading room. I'll be taking us here going into the close. I'll talk to you guys coming up soon. Take care.